Hi guys, I've got some really interesting news for you. Anybody that loves our country or knows that there's a lot of bad things going on right now, and I'm talking about both sides of the fence. And this is nonpartisan. Doesn't matter what religion. If you're LGBTQ, you're going to want to hear this. Christian, Muslim, whatever, because there are two words that I'm learning that most of us don't understand about how our country was created. It's called nature's law. It's not natural's law. We'll get into that. And as I've asked people, all kinds of elected officials, sheriffs, all kinds of people that should know these things, and we don't. And it's by careful design, but in order for us to really declare what our rights are, which is what I'm going to help you to understand, you got to understand it. So there's a couple ground rules I want to follow here really fast. I'm going to string this out through a couple different videos. Some of you will watch it, some of you won't. But I'm going to make a challenge to you to watch the whole thing. Some of you are going to kind of jump out the window when I use words like the Constitution, the C word. But it's because we don't understand it. As I'm asking a lot of people and talking to them, we really don't understand the intentions behind it or how it protects us. So I'm going to ask you to watch these videos until the end, and I might see some of the same things in both videos just because one might get shut down and that type of thing. The second thing that I would like for you to do is to share this information. Now, if you make your own content, I have no desire to go viral. That's not what my goal is here. It's just to help educate people. I will do a lot better job helping to educate people if you all help to educate people. So I'll put some bullet points on the end of these videos so that you can actually train other people and teach other people, because there is some result here that I'm going to talk to you about. If you don't make your own content, then go ahead and share it. But you guys, at some point, I may go away. That's just kind of how it happens. If somebody's speaking a lot of truth, then somebody else doesn't like it or they don't agree with it. So please share this. So the fourth thing is, I'm going to use a little bit different terminology for obvious reasons. So I really like fantasy. And so I'm going to go back to Star Wars. So when I refer to the Emperor, in Star Wars, the Emperor was really the one pulling the strings. And I think a lot of us know that our forward politicians are not always doing all the string pulling. There's a lot of things, we know corporations and people get involved, and sometimes it's nefarious, sometimes it's for money. Those are the emperors. Those are the ones that are, or what do they call them? The Sith Masters in Star Wars, or the emperors. They're the ones that are kind of in the background. The Darth Vaders are the ones that are politicians that are, I call them the intentional. They know exactly what's going on. They're getting bribed, they're getting paid, they're doing dishonest things, and they're breaking our Constitution. They don't care. The stormtroopers are more of the kind of useful idiots. I don't know how else to say that kindly, but they're the people that just push agendas and certain things because their party supports it and they don't really understand why. Sometimes these people do a lot of damage because they don't really get the whole background of it. So we have to kind of be more, outside thinkers. But then the Luke Skywalkers, they're the ones that are, they sign up to be politicians or police officers or sheriffs, or they go through this whole process because they want to help their fellow men. So those really are the ones that I'm more focused on when we go through this. Okay, so back to how this benefits everybody. I'm going to talk to you about nature's law. This is how our Constitution was actually founded and set up. Now, I watch like the LGBTQ community or those that are pro-life, and you guys are constantly fighting for your rights. What if I told you that you shouldn't have to fight for your rights, that they're already given to you? I'm going to explain that to you and how that helps you, how that benefits you. You don't ask for your rights. We need to learn how to declare them. And I'm going to teach you how. Some people on the right are always saying that their morals or their rights are being violated, and some of them are. And, I hats off to all those people that go to school board meetings and county, planning meetings. And I've been to several of them. I've spent a lot of time, a lot of hours. And I think it's good, and I think we have a constitutional right and we should have our voices heard. But how many times have you gone to those things and you feel like they didn't hear a word we said? They went ahead and did it anyway. What if you had a way to basically, I don't like to say the word demand, but basically enforce your rights? Some people I listen to, the left, are constantly, they're focused on the voting people in and out. I guess both sides do that. I've heard other people say we have a Second Amendment right, and at some point we're going to have to take these rights by force. And I'm not saying that that won't happen, but in order to do that, there are certain things that we are required to do as governing the government before we actually can do that. This actually helps us to give those politicians a chance to be educated and to learn, and a chance for them to redress their wrongs. And I'll be honest with you guys, this has been going on for a long time. Our generation, our parents, our grandparents, we haven't done a real great job enforcing the laws because we don't understand them. Let's just start there. You hear often democracy. We've got to save our democracy. It's not good for our democracy. What if I told you we don't have a democracy, and some of you know this, we have a constitutional republic? What's the difference? Well, they both vote in their elected officials, but a democracy gives the government the power. Do you know that? A constitutional republic keeps the power still with the people. So, whether you believe it's nefarious or it was just kind of bypassed for some reason in our education process, we're not taught that anymore. I think it was intentional, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. But I'm going to go back to the Hebrew scholars. So a lot of the information that we're getting are from people much smarter than me, okay? Constitutionalists, historians. Hebrew scholars are important for this reason, okay? Now, again, don't jump out the window. Some of you that won't agree with me, listen to what I have to say and how the Bible actually protects your LGBTQ beliefs or, your preferences, okay? So in the Bible, they had that was called common law in the reign of the judges, okay? Our forefathers understood this, and I'll tell you why we know that, okay? So in common law, the judges were not like kings. They didn't call the shots. They didn't run the people. In fact, it was the opposite. It was so that people could actually govern themselves. So how it worked was through the laws of nature, okay? The laws of motion, the laws of science, the laws of physics, the law of attraction. All of these laws that are already here, they govern our world. So let me give you an example. If you were to walk off a building, gravity is going to pull you to the ground. That's a law of gravity it's just there. It's unexplainable, whether you believe in evolution. However this world was created, Christians believe in the loving God. It doesn't matter how it's created. They recognize that God is nature and nature's God. Now, how am I pulling this into the forefathers? Because they state it in the first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence. There's other ways that we know, but that's one of your first keys to go look up. Nature is what governs us. That's our laws. So if you have the physical capability of doing whatever you want, you have those rights so long as you don't infringe on others' rights. That is the law of nature. Okay? You already have those rights. Men are not supposed to govern those rights. So back in the reign of the judges, the judges literally were there for people to bring their grievances in and say, hey, my neighbor grew a garden on my side of the fence, and then they were there to kind of dispute it out. Now, of course, if somebody killed somebody, they're not going to admit it. They don't want to take the consequence. So then the judges were responsible for gathering all the facts and information. They bring it through a quorum of their peers, similar to what we have, where you've got your jury. Interestingly enough, those were women generally. I know we always get a bad rap on women, that they didn't have any power, but in the reign of the judges, they were actually the equity. The men were the law or the head. They kept the order, and the women were the equity. They had the compassion to make those calls if somebody was not going to admit to those breach of rights on their own. So join me in part 2.